America needs a tidal wave of the old-time religion.
I have sinned against you.
How dare you!
We have no need to doubt God.
The harlot Babylon is preparing the nations to receive the Antichrist.
I didn't even build that house with money from the church. I built it with money from my book.
I don't make this stuff up.
Repenting of your sin.
It is a moral issue.
They got together and swore a pact to the devil.
I just enjoy seeing people worship, praising God.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to
Believe It
or Not,
the show where we believe it
or not,
probably not,
or probably it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Pretty hard not most of the time, all the time, every time.
6% of the time, it works every time.
That's right.
Anchorman. Damien, how was your day?
Pretty good. Not too bad. You know what? I got to sleep in today, so that was nice. Getting back to my old, the way things have been for the last year,
Nice.
Now that I have to go back to work now. So, it's really thrown off my equilibrium.
Yeah. I've had some time off and I've been trying to use it to be productive and stuff, but it can be hard to motivate yourself. It can be hard to okay, I have to get these things done by this time. And also it's but I could also just
not do that.
Meal, go for a walk.
Yeah. Welcome to the last year and a half of my life. Who am I kidding? Welcome to the last 30 years of my life.
I got a question for you though.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever fired a gun?
No, I paintball gun.
Yep, I've done that. I've fired a paintball gun,
Nerf gun.
Mm-hmm. What about a potato gun?
No, I've done a BB gun.
Oh yeah, same.
I've also done finger guns. Pew pew.
Oh
pew.
yeah, pew 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 pew.
Yeah.
One time we were playing with my brother's BB gun, and my brother accidentally shot it, and it hit a picture of me in the eye, and then bounced off and hit me in the face.
Wow, he really did shoot your eye out, kid.
Yeah. But yeah, I know I've never fired a gun either. I have shot a potato gun once. My cousin made. No, I'm not saying they're the same thing, but it was a funny story. I was trying to get it to work,
and it hit a picture of you in the eye, and then stopped and hit you in the head.
No, but it hit my neighbor's house an inch from the window. If it would have been an inch over, it would have just smashed through the window.
Well, good thing you had bad aim, I guess.
Yeah, well, I was trying to get it to work because it's made with an old barbecue lighter or whatever, and so it wasn't working. So I had aimed it, and then I just kind of put it to my side and just kept pressing the button, trying to figure out why it wasn't working, and then it just fired and smack. Yeah.
Well, homemade explosive devices are not usually a good idea.
No, but if you want to learn how to make a potato gun, there's a lot of great resources on youtube.com. But you know who does love guns?
I feel like there's a couple people who do.
White evangelical American and some Canadian Christians.
Yeah. There
is a weird connection between God and guns. So I thought I'd start with a couple Bible verses. Matthew 26, verse 52 says, "Put your sword back in its place. Jesus said unto him, for all who draw the sword will die by the sword."
Oh, okay. So that's the opposite.
Yeah. And then also in Matthew 5, verse 39, it says, "But I say to you, do not resist the one who is evil. But if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also." So let's see. Why do they want guns so bad?
Yeah. Also, why are you smacking someone on the butt cheeks?
Yeah.
That's what that
yeah, it's about,
you do that?
I don't know. Well, I mean, if you're into that, that's fine, just as long as consent's involved.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, if you're out in public and they slap you on the cheek and then they say turn the other cheek and let it go.
Yeah, that's true.
That's not good.
I'm not for that. No.
Yeah.
According to 2017 Pew Research data, white evangelical Christians are more likely than members of any other faith group or the average person to own a gun. 41% compared to 30% of Americans overall.
Wow, that's a big number.
Yeah. The majority of the white evangelicals who own handguns carry them with them all the time.
Right. That's like those memes all the time when they're like, why are you people all wearing masks? What are you afraid of? It's like, well, why are you carrying a gun all the time? What are you afraid of?
Exactly. I thought that too. The one where it's like, God will protect me. And then someone commented, aren't you the ones that carry guns to the grocery store?
Yeah, it's insane. Do you think it has something to do with their belief is so entrenched in their religion and that they just really don't care about society here on Earth? So they're like, fuck it, I'm going to be armed and I can do what I want.
Kind of. I think that could have something to do with it. I think, they see the world as evil, and they see, I think part of it is that they need to, stay armed because the rest of the world is evil and they're the good ones. Robert Jeffress?
I don't know.
Okay.
Did I?
No, I
Sorry.
I hate him so much. He's been on Fox and Friends a lot. I use clips from him in my videos all the time.
Well, you know how much I love Fox and Friends.
Yeah, he's on like Fox all the time. He's just a bigot, but he's a pastor of a mega church, First Baptist Church in Dallas, and he says that most of his church members are regularly armed, which makes him feel safer about a potential shooter.
I just saw something. I don't know if this was satire or not, but I feel like it might have been true. But it was saying in Texas that they were removing regulations for handgun ownership. So you can it's totally unregulated now. You can just buy a gun and it doesn't matter.
Yep. So they passed that as of recording. They passed that yesterday. Starts.
Okay, so it was real.
September 1st. Yeah. Actually, let's bring up some legislation. I'll go down to that section now.
We're really trying to bring back the Wild West. Well, is that also the state that had that guy who was just setting up like prison camps?
Probably. Yeah. Oh yeah. Like he basically called them concentration camps, right? Like
he was like a police chief, and he's just like, he set up like a tent village prison camp.
Yeah, and I think he's the same guy who ended up getting arrested because, I don't even remember what it was, but then Trump pardoned him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so House Bill 1927 eliminates the requirement for Texas residents to obtain a license to carry handguns. Recently, too, I think there was a similar bill proposed in, there was another state that had Tennessee. Tennessee has another bill in the works with the same goal.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, all these bills are like, they're written by the NRA and.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. And And they'll use like mass shootings and stuff as a reason why we need to have this, because it'll protect everyone. And
wait, are you expecting all the kids in those school shootings to be armed? Is that what they're expecting?
I guess so. Or the teachers, or.
Because that's where a lot of these shootings are happening. And do you really want the teachers to be armed?
No, no. That's another thing too. In North Carolina, a new bill. It looks like they're going to sign it soon, or they have signed it. But basically, guns are allowed in churches, like concealed carry, unless the church is based in a school. So if they like rent the school gym on Sunday mornings to have their service, then there's already laws in place saying you can't have guns on school property. So those are the exceptions. But they just passed a law saying that schools can't ban churches from having guns, and so now just like carry those guns on school property.
I'm wondering over the next couple years what if there's going to be a sharp rise in gun violence in those states.
Missouri, that's another one. Recently,
Missouri.
I always, because I work at a call center and I talk to people from all over the states, I always try to pronounce the city names and the town names like how they would be, and they're like, but I'm like, am I just making fun of them? Like if I say Missouri,
I don't know if they actually say Missouri. Is that?
I don't know. And I always
what other ones do you say? I'm curious now.
Oh, like Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's actually Lancaster, right? I think. I don't know. Because when I was there, somebody corrected me and said Lancaster, but then I've heard other people on the phone say Lancaster, and I'm like, well, what's the real?
Just say what you feel is right.
Okay.
If they want to correct you, they'll correct you.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I used to always correct people when they would say Calgary. It's Calgary.
It's not Calgary?
No, it's Calgary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But Missouri. Right now, the way the law is, you have to get permission from your church in order to
bring a gun in.
So it's like some churches are allowed to say, "Hey, you know what? We don't want guns in our churches." The new bill is trying to say that no, you can't ban your church members from carrying guns. It's like, how is that not stepping on religious freedom? These are the same religious freedom folks, but guns trump that, I guess.
Oh yeah, well see, those kind of freedoms are in the same sphere. They're equal. Yeah. So they can supersede each other. So that way, like owning guns, you can actually stop people's freedom of religion if you have a gun.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's how that logic works.
Yeah. And it's crazy. Another thing to talk about too is Kyle Rittenhouse, the murderer Kyle Rittenhouse, when he, went across state lines illegally with a gun and shot people in a town that he didn't live in. He raised a lot of money on GoFundMe, on a crowdfunding site. It was actually a Christian crowdfunding site. GoFundMe wouldn't allow him, so went on a Christian crowdfunding site, and evangelicals, a lot of them donated to $480,000.
What were they donating for exactly?
His legal defense.
Seriously?
Yeah.
After he went and murdered a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Why? But why?
Because he shot people who were for Black Lives Matter, because they see them as like a terrorist group. A lot of evangelical Christians see them as a terrorist group, and he was going there. He was just protecting the property and helping the police, so he shouldn't be arrested.
He traveled across state lines and then killed a bunch of people, yet they're the terrorists.
Yeah.
People are going to donate $400,000 to this maniac?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting.
I feel like if I was in those towns with all those whack jobs, I'd want to be armed.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I was watching this video about guns in churches and stuff like that, and there was this one church that basically they saw it as part of worship to carry a gun with you, and
what?
Yeah.
How is that a part of worship?
Oh, and there's this crazy one. Okay, so this one's nuts. So it's not really evangelical, it's its own thing, but you know the Moonies?
I know the Goonies.
Oh yeah, well the Moonies was like Some Young Moon was the creator of the unification movement. It's like, they're the ones who would hand out like the flowers at the airport, and the bald guys, and yeah. It's a cult. It's a weird cult. But his son started his own group, and they just bought a place near Waco, Texas compound. But they see guns as part of like the sacrament almost, and they'll come in, and they had like ceremonies where everybody was supposed to bring their AR-15s because there's this like verse in the Bible about blessing the iron rod, and he says that means AR-15s, or at least automatic weapons. And
wow, so, I can just imagine going to like a Catholic mass, and then the priest goes by and he puts the body of Christ in your mouth, and then he puts his revolver in your mouth. And you're just supposed to like choke on the barrel a little bit, and then he goes on to the next person.
Yeah. And yeah, one thing I was watching was it was like a potluck thing or a church event where they had a speaker and stuff like that, but they also had a rally, or no, what's the word? A ballot thing. They had a lottery for
lottery. Okay.
To win a gun. They were giving
like
away
a raffle.
A raffle was the word I was looking for. Jesus.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Rally? Jesus. I told you I didn't have enough coffee today.
Fair enough. So they were having a raffle for a gun.
They were giving away 9 guns.
9.
2 for kids, 7 for adults.
What?
Yeah.
Listen, now, I think responsible gun ownership is a very reasonable thing. I think that there are situations and places where people might live where it is a necessary part of life. I don't think it's necessary to be giving away guns to children at a raffle.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. And that's the thing too. I'm not. Yeah, like I think there's like a fine line between I don't know, I like going into the gun range and shooting a gun once in a while, and I'm safe with it. I lock it in a safe or like whatever. Totally. As opposed to like tying it to your religion and tying it to your identity. And yeah.
Well, you know what it seems to be? It's it's a power thing, right? They feel so, I don't know, I'm assuming they just feel so small and insignificant or powerless that they need to compensate here, I guess.
Well, I've been watching a lot of true crime stuff lately, which maybe inspired this. But there was I can't remember the guy's name, but basically he was at a gas station. He has nothing to do with religion, but with guns. But he was at a gas station and he saw somebody parked in a handicap parking spot, and he just started yelling about them about not having their tag and just like being like verbally abusive and stuff. And then the husband walked over and shoved the guy, and the guy immediately shot the guy who shoved him.
Jeez.
And so he was saying self-defense. He didn't know what this guy was going to do, but the prosecution was basically like, he felt powerful going into that situation because he had a gun on his on him.
Yeah.
And then immediately was his only reaction because he didn't know how to de-escalate a situation that he started other than just using a gun.
Yeah, that totally escalated way too quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Why? Like, why is this happening?
Yeah, I can see no valid reasons in today's day and age, in North America at the very least, for concealed weapon carry.
No.
None. Absolutely none.
No.
I see zero reason why that should be a thing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you have a reason, put it in the comments, but
I'm not going to buy it, but
yeah.
put it in there, I guess.
Yeah. I guess one of the main excuses or reasons that a lot of them give is the classic good guy with a gun thing. If you ban guns, if we're not allowed to have guns, then it's just going to be bad guys with guns, and you need good guys with guns.
That's not true. And it's been proven time and time again.
Yeah.
And also, the only place that allows all that shit, really, the States, is the one with the highest rate of gun violence.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's like a very huge red flag that maybe the good guys with guns doesn't really stop gun violence.
Yep, exactly. And let me see here. I have this thing from the Associated Press where they were talking about these self-defense advocates who talk about the sheepdog mentality, which is taken from the movie American Sniper.
Oh no.
Yeah, which I mean,
that movie's problematic in itself, isn't it?
Oh yeah, very much so. I mean, it's based on a guy who bragged in his book about murdering people just because they were brown, like, right. And he's the hero.
Was that the one where it was also like he made some stuff up in it too, like a bunch of it?
Yeah,
right. Okay,
a bunch of that is made up. Yeah, and but yeah, because his dad in the movie said that there are wolves, sheep, and sheepdogs, and the sheepdogs are the ones who like keep people safe or whatever. So they're like, it's the sheepdog organizations or whatever. But yeah, so, and also a lot of some pastors will say, well, you know what, I'm the shepherd of my flock and I have to protect my flock, so to do that I have to carry a gun. I don't think that's what that means.
No, not at all. Although if anyone was going to carry a weapon, I would think that the priest should be the one too.
Is he, because he's like the sheriff of the church?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, like if a bartender has a gun, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't expect all the patrons to be packing, but something goes down. You want that guy behind the bar to pull out a shotgun and say, "Get the hell out of here."
Yeah. Also,
I would say the same thing with the pastor. Kicks over that little podium, or probably has it concealed in his robes, like Omar on The Wire.
Right. Or that, or the pulpit has shotguns kind of inside, so he can just grab them and pull them out.
I feel like there'd be a few big crosses that just are actually guns that he would just pick up and
that'd be so badass.
That'd be good.
Okay, so our stance is no guns in church unless there's a bunch of hidden ones that only the pastor who's highly trained in special ops. Actually, speaking of highly trained, a lot of churches now do scenarios of if there's an active shooter, how to take them out and stuff like that. So they'll have little seminars at the church to walk through where to go, how to take the gun out of there, how to shoot the guy before he shoots other people. And one of the things I read, I don't remember which article it was, but the one guy's like, well, if somebody walks into a church with an AR-15, they're up to no good. And it's like, no, but you're all carrying guns.
Yeah, you guys already have guns.
Yeah, you guys are the ones fighting to not ban these guns. So now you see a guy with a bigger gun than you and you're like, oh, he's up to no good.
Yeah, you're kind of profiling this very thing that you're doing here.
Yeah,
I mean, yes, having a large semi-automatic weapon does raise a few more red flags than a concealed carry handgun, but you can still do a lot of damage with concealed handgun.
Yeah. Another thing besides I'm a good guy with a gun is that, the thing I kind of mentioned before was they say the world is getting worse and we have to be separated from the world, and it's not the guns that are the problem, it's a sin issue. So the reason that there's all these mass shootings is because people are sinning and we need to turn back to God. So banning guns isn't the solution.
People have been sinning forever.
Yeah, people sin all over the world, but still America has the most mass shootings. So or maybe people aren't sinning all over the world. Maybe America's the only place.
It's only in America. Maybe that's true. Wow, I didn't think about that.
Something to think about. It's there's this preacher in the States who basically said that coronavirus was punishment from God, and now he has coronavirus.
Yeah. Well, fuck him.
Yeah.
Good.
Exactly.
I hope he has long-standing effects from it.
Yeah. And the other reason is, just for a lot of people, their religion is tied to their nationalism. It's like God, guns, and freedom. Yeah, freedom ain't free. Freedom
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, patriotism is I think a bit of a plague. It's just fancy nationalism, right? It's a very dangerous mindset. I think it's good to have, you can have pride for where you live and, the things that your country does, but you always have to temper that a little bit. You always have to realize, like, no, we still do a lot of bad shit, and we have a history of doing bad shit, and I can't just be like, we're the best ever. We may as well believe whatever we want and have a fuck ton of guns and do whatever we want. Like, that's not how societies work.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's even like our friend Nigel. He posted this meme the other day that was Canada and was wearing, why are you wearing that mask? And it had like maple syrup, hockey, and Tim Hortons on it. And then take off the mask and it's like genocide. It's like, yeah. And so you can't just be like, oh, I'm so proud of where I live without ever acknowledging like the awful shit your country
totally
has done.
And like so much of it too is like, for a lot of people, I always find it weird, the pride in a place that you just happen to be born as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, going for the sports team of your local town. It's like, well, it's just because it's the closest in proximity to where you are.
Yeah.
You didn't have a choice, and now this is it. So you kind of default have to like it, but
yeah,
I don't know. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great stuff in North America, but come on.
Lots of bad.
Yeah, I'm not laying down my life for a fucking flag.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a lot. Yeah, a lot of that's tied into white nationalism too, and white supremacy.
Oh God,
yeah, because they're saying like as more and more like non-Christian and non-white people get into places of power and are elected into government, and even non-males, women. Or non-binary get into places of power, these white Christian men start to feel threatened, and gun ownership again goes up. And
that's fair. I mean, that's all it is. It's just a bunch of insecure people who are feeling threatened, which is weird because most of these things, they're not trying to stop you from doing this stuff. You're still free to do a lot of this stuff and practice your beliefs and everything.
Yeah,
I think well, I mean for sure they're starting to put some checks and taking a halt at some of the like widespread, just like they kind of had whole hog of the whole thing for the longest time. So now they're just kind of being like, wait a minute, maybe you shouldn't be taking care of all of that shit. We're gonna pull it back a little. But it's the same thing, like, and it's the rhetoric too, like it's a war on this, it's a war on that, it's a war on this. So if everything's a war, of course you got to be armed.
Yeah, exactly. And that ties into Fox News and those other right-wing organizations too. Anytime there's like any legislation, anytime there's any legislation about gun control, they tie it into they're taking away our freedoms, they're taking away our Second Amendment right. And I mean,
I think we've talked about it before. I'm pretty sure Fox News is legally not a news station. They're an entertainment station.
Yeah, they argued that in court so that they wouldn't be in trouble for stuff. So
so legally, Fox News is not news. They don't have any of the like the regulations or anything that a legitimate news source would need. They are not news. And if you're getting your news from them, you need to rethink what you're doing.
And I hope none of our listeners are getting their news from Fox News.
I mean, I hope none of our listeners are getting their news exclusively from one source at all.
Yeah, that's true. So. Or that they're just hopefully just living under a rock.
Yeah. Head in the sand. That's the way I like to do it.
Speaking of like bills, there's other states that are trying to pass good bills. Like California just passed. No, it was San Jose, so just one city. But now they have to. You not only get you have to get your background check, which is already in place, but all that whole process of buying a gun and everything has to be videotaped. Like you have to have security footage on there, so that to confirm that this is actually the person. So gun stores can't fiddle around that and say, oh no, Johnny just bought 150 guns. I didn't sell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think if you're buying anything like that, there should be a mental health check.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like,
yeah.
Come on.
That's my thing about guns. What are your thoughts on guns?
Well, it just seems that it's people who are really digging in their heels, and it's being exacerbated by the politicians and the news media trying to stir their bases into a fervor. And it's the same thing with like the whole Trump thing too.
Yeah.
It's not people who are looking at any of this stuff rationally. It's people who are just they're following what they're being told to do, and they're getting more and more like paranoid and outrageous, and it's not good, and it's not healthy, and it's a very, very dangerous set of situations that we're in now with that.
No, I agree. No, it seems to be in the faith, like the opposite of what it should be if you read what Christ taught about.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too, it's really just a red herring.
Yeah.
More than anything, it's just another thing for them to make their base, mad about something, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because if you're mad about this, you're not going to fight about the other stuff that for some reason doesn't seem as significant, like.
Yes, exactly. Like someone who's pointing out that Southern Baptist Conference was recently, they've never talked about gun violence, but they always manage to talk about same-sex marriage. They always talk about abortion. They always talk about like all of their topics, but nobody wants to tackle something that's killing so many people in America, because then they'll lose their freedom.
Well, that's the thing. Like if you're not being oppressed, you have to find something to claim that you're being oppressed.
Yeah.
And apparently, regulating how many guns you can have and who can get them is, I guess, oppression.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, people are being persecuted and murdered and locked up and shit for all kinds of stupid things. Yet, the people who live freely, live well, probably hold a good chunk of the wealth, and aren't being oppressed in any way whatsoever, other than they're being told that you can't have as many dangerous toys as you want.
Yeah, exactly. Patrons, thank our patrons, and then maybe
let's thank them.
Some Christian rocking.
Let's rock and roll all night long. Well, until about 9 p.m. because it's bedtime.
That's true. Yeah, I gotta get up for work.
And church.
Oh my God! Wow! Thank you so much. Wow! Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bible study. Really great stuff today that we're diving into about how the story of the young girl who was sacrificed by her father because she came in through the door, which is a real Bible story. And
where was she supposed to come through?
No, because he said that the next thing that he sees come through that door, he'll sacrifice to God. And then his daughter came through, so he sacrificed her.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think like that, that's one of those instances where you could have been like, wow. I'll wait for the next thing.
Yeah.
Maybe his mother-in-law.
I bet you love your mother-in-law. But yeah, first let's say some thank yous. So we just want to thank really quick Mysol, thank you so much. I'm sorry if I butchered that. I want to say a quick thank you to Alex and Kevin. You're wonderful. All three of you are just so fantastic and wonderful, and we appreciate having you here in our Bible study.
And we've got a couple of prayer requests today.
Okay.
So I would like to say one today for our friends, Nerd Fiction. And it's come to our attention that they have been watching the Revenge of the Nerds movie franchise, some might say religiously, and it's getting in the way of their real religious viewings of VeggieTales. So we just want them to realize that it's okay to watch films from Hollywood, but not to the extent and the degree that you guys are. So please tone it back. Okay.
Exactly. And I really want to push for VeggieTales too, because we're working on making that one of the sacraments.
It should be. You got to eat your fruits and vegetables, and you have to watch your fruits and vegetables.
Mm. And I just have a really quick prayer request here for Mona. Mona is wonderful, don't get me wrong, but she's been eating chicken wings, which is fine, but like for every meal. And it's never different flavors. It's always just like a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. And you gotta, life is short, but we are, supposed to make the best of it while we're here before we go up to the sky. And just maybe do some different flavors, Mona.
Honey garlic.
Honey garlic is good. Maybe
Sweet
some
Thai chili.
Spicy, yes.
Medium,
yes. And maybe try crispy chicken too.
Yeah, lemon pepper.
Lemon pepper is very tasty.
Dry rub Cajun.
Hallelujah. So, we just lift these people up to prayer today, and may the Lord be with them and forgive them of their shortcomings. Anyways, let's move on to some Christian rock.
Can't you see you're not making Christianity better? You're just making rock and roll worse.
Okay, so I don't know if this is considered a Christian rock song, but it's definitely it's a country song, and it has some.
Yeah, it seems like it's probably a gray area a lot of the time.
Yeah, so it's definitely Christian-y, not Christianese.
My argument would be that they still talk a lot about drinking beers and women and stuff.
That's true.
That might push it just outside of the Christian. It's Christian adjacent. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. The song is called "God and Guns."
God and Guns. Who's it by?
Aaron Lewis.
Aaron Lewis. I'm not familiar.
All the talking heads on TV, they selling their lies, saying their way is better for living my life. And I'm fed up of them set up on high on that hill. They don't give a damn about a common man. Hell, they never will. So say what you want about the things I hold true and the fabric that makes us up this red, white, and blue, because I'll fight for my country till the day I'm done. I've still got my God and I've still got my gun.
All right. I just want to say that is the stupidest argument I've ever heard.
Yeah.
What are you fucking talking about?
And that's the thing too. It's always about, well, if the government ever comes up, we have to fight against the government. And the song's like, I like my government. I just don't like the media that keeps them in check.
Yeah, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Also, too, it's like he's saying that they don't care about the average man. Like, yeah, they do. They're trying to keep them from being shot by a bunch of you lunatics who are wantonly stockpiling weapons.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like the one who really doesn't care about the average man is the guy who's more concerned about how many guns they can buy than, people's fucking safety.
Exactly. And and like the thing is too, and we didn't really touch on this, but there's going to be more fatalities in a home when there's more guns around. Like that's statistically obvious. Like kids get into it, and also suicide rates go up when it's easier to access a gun.
I can guarantee you that most gun owners do not properly store and keep their guns.
Yeah.
And if you are properly storing your guns, it will not help you in a home invasion, because by the time you're able to get those guns, it won't matter anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically what I'm saying is give me your guns.
Yeah. Well, it might just be like that episode of The Simpsons where they get rid of all the guns and then the aliens come and take over the earth with clubs.
That's true. But soon they'll get a stick with a larger nail, or a larger board with a larger nail.
It could happen.
Thanks everyone for listening. Thank you for supporting us. Thanks again to the patrons.
And don't forget to smash that like button. That's what they say, right?
That's what they say, yeah. They're always smashing, and you have to buy a new computer every time.
Every time, because you're smashing it so hard.
Yeah. So maybe don't smash it, just just click it.
Yeah, use your friend's computer if you're gonna smash the.
Yeah, it's true. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Work, Sky Moon.